Dave Gettleman. Dave Gettleman. What Dave ended up doing is David just ended up trading Olivier to the Cleveland Brownies. $19 million off the books. And the Giants are now signing a guard for $10 million who's 29 years old in Kevin Zeitler from the University of Wisconsin. Now, I'm not the biggest Olivier Vernon guy. Olivier Vernon, in his first 4 games, I hated how the New York Giants didn't tell us the injury. I wanted Olivier to come back. Clearly, the Giants don't like Olivier Vernon, and he's not worth $19 million. He's a middle-of-the-road pass rusher. He couldn't grab Dak Prescott in Game 17 to secure a victory. Instead, he let him escape the pocket and throw a touchdown pass. I'm not sure if he's the best leader, the best person for the defense. He's not worth $19 million. I'm happy that Olivier Vernon is absolutely gone. I'm not going to miss Olivier Vernon at all. Now, Olivier Vernon in 2016 was pretty good, and Jerry Reese wanted to make an effort to go out and try to win a championship in 2016, and we were close to actually winning a championship in 2016. Our defense was a top 3 defense, the way we beat the Redskins and the Cowboys and whatnot. So we had a really, really good football team in 2016. And if we had any offensive linemen or any offensive coaches that would run the football, we probably would have beaten the Packers in Green Bay because our defense was so special. And for that 1 year, the Jerry Reese money made perfect sense. But now, it absolutely didn't, because Vernon got worse. Landon Collins, his coverage skills versus tight ends is not really that great. So now you look at the Giants, and let's look holistically at what's going on. I like that Vernon's gone. I don't know about Dave Gettleman and his ability to scout offensive linemen. I mean, he gave Matt Khalil of the Carolina Panthers a ton of money. Dave Gettleman is terrible at drafting cornerbacks. He drafted James Bradbury, who was terrible. He drafted Daryl Worley, who had a lot of off-the-field issues in Philadelphia. He was driving like a combined DUI or driving while high. He got released one day after signing with the Eagles. Daryl Worley was a horrible selection. So Dave Gettleman is not really that good at drafting defensive secondary members at all. So he doesn't really have that type of background whatsoever regarding defensive players. So this is a crazy move for the New York Giants. I mean, Benjamin Albright reported that Odell Beckham was on the trade block for this guard. We end up getting a really good guard. The fact is, I love that we're paying attention to the offensive line now, because we are creating a tough and nasty room of football players. Now we have Will Hernandez, Kevin Zeitler, who better be freaking good. He's rated good. He's paid like he's one of the best guards in all the league. He's making $10 million at least. Now, I think there is a buyout after next year. We might be able to release Kevin Zeitler next year and not have any cap deficiencies on our deal. That's a very interesting point that I read on Spock Track, is that we could have a buyout clause after next year if we want to get rid of this guy. But he's making a shit ton of money. And now our offensive line is going to be very good for Saquon Barkley. John Jalapeno is coming back on like a $3 million deal. James Bradbury from NC State is an option. Dalton Reisner in the second round. So the New York Giants, we got to build. We got to get a right tackle, and we got to get a good center in here. But overall, we have Nate Solder, we have Will Hernandez, and now Kevin Zeitler. We have John Jalapeno, who's a good backup center. We need some competition at the center slot, and now we need a right tackle. And the way I'd go if I were the New York Giants, I would not trade for Josh Rosen. I'm not a Rosen fan. He didn't win at UCLA. He clearly has character concerns if the Cardinals want to ship him off already, and if his asking price continues to plummet. Now, if I were Arizona, I would not trade Josh Rosen. I would just keep him hostage. Completely hold him hostage. I would have him go against preseason second teamers. I'd make him look really, really good. I would scheme the shit out of the second teamers in preseason, continue to drive up the value for him. Because when Teddy Bridgewater got hurt, I saw the Minnesota Vikings make one of the dumbest decisions. I saw them give up a first rounder for Sam Bradford because they were desperate as hell heck. And quarterbacks, they get injured in the NFL. Marcus Mariota is always injured in the NFL. Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, people get hurt in the NFL. If I were Arizona, I would not just take a second rounder for Josh Rosen. Now, if the Redskins wanted to give you the 15th pick, you do that, because what you paid for Josh Rosen was a 10th overall pick. But if you hang on to Josh Rosen, you continue to hold him hostage in the negotiation process, then you would actually possibly get a first round selection for Josh Rosen in the regular season. When somebody gets hurt, they'll pay you like the 17th overall selection. So then you're pretty much not losing any value at all, because then you'd be getting back like a pick that is just a couple of selections after you took them with the 10th overall selection. Now, you lost a third rounder, but it's not the end of the world. A third rounder and like a fifth rounder from the Oakland Raiders that year. So, listen, that shit's gonna happen. But the New York Giants, I don't want Dwayne Haskins. I don't like this quarterback class. I mean, Drew Lock is one of my favorite players, but even him in big time games, I've watched him and I haven't been fully committed. If you're going to take a quarterback, you don't want to make the same mistake that the Cardinals made last year, where they were desperate, they needed a quarterback, so they just took a quarterback. You don't just take a quarterback just to fill a need. That's never the right solution when you're drafting a quarterback that you want to be there for 10 or 15 seasons. And I look at Tua Tagovailoa as definitely a guy that is going to come in and win immediately. Justin Herbert is going to be a 4-year starting senior quarterback that is going to come in and win immediately. Herbert is a better Mitchell Trubisky. So next year, and then also there's going to be quarterbacks that emerge next year from out of nowhere. There's going to be a Jacob Eason. There's going to be a Shea Patterson, a Hunter Johnson, a James Morgan from FIU. There are going to be quarterbacks next year. This is a weak quarterback class. You don't just take a quarterback to take a quarterback. Here's the other thing I'm going to mention. The New York Giants defense is atrocious now. I mean, Landon's gone, Olivier's gone. There's no outside rushers. Now, at number 6, you could take a Rashawn Gary. You could take a guy like a Montez Sweat. You could take a guy who's pretty fast with not that good of production, because you're outside of the top 5. So the Quinnen Williams, the Josh Allens, and Nick Bosa's are all going to be gone before you pick. I would consider trading that pick back to Washington or the Miami Dolphins, because I think this year's a perfect year to just tank with Eli Manning. I think it's a perfect year to possibly trade Odell Beckham, rid yourself of all your good players, and completely start building towards a Saquon Barkley future. Because then in 2020, the New York Giants will have a shit ton of money to spend. The New York Giants will also be instating a rookie quarterback like a Jared Goff with a Todd Gurley-like great player. And I believe in the quarterbacks next year. I would not take any quarterback. Right now, no quarterback, no trading for Josh Rosen. Keep your second-round pick, draft an offensive tackle, get your offensive line playing together with Saquon Barkley, possibly trade out of 6 with the Washington Redskins, allow them to take Dwayne Haskins as their quarterback, who is a huge risk as a quarterback. He's only played 1 year of college football. He's only played a couple of good opponents on that schedule. He's played at Ohio State. He's had the best players around him, the best coach. He's had a top 3 coach in Urban Meyer just scheming it up for him all day long. You don't take Dwayne Haskins. I am not a believer in Haskins at all. It's way too high of a pick. You don't just take a quarterback to take a quarterback. You don't do it. Drew Lock, you don't do it. Small hands doesn't win big games. You don't freaking take a quarterback this year. You don't take Josh Rosen either. Josh Rosen, injury concerns. He's never won at a high level before. Listen, every single coach that's coached Rosen, he hasn't been able to click with any of his coaches. They all get fired after dealing with Rosen. I'm not a Rosen fan at all. I'm not any of these guys' fans. For me to like a quarterback, it's got to be a quarterback that you're willing to put your neck out on the line for. And if you're Dave Gettleman, you just saw what Steve Keim did. Don't make that huge mistake or you're going to get your ass fired, man. Don't take a quarterback this year. Just build your team, trade back, get a defensive player, get a safety at like number 15, or trade with the Dolphins and let them go out and swing and miss on a quarterback. This is a bad year for quarterbacks. Don't be one of those guys that just listens to the fan base and just lets their peer pressure. Don't be one of those cowards. Don't let the fans bully you. We ain't going nowhere this year. Why are you going to select a quarterback and let him just sit on the gosh damn bench? Why? Why are you going to create that drama and friction with Odell, with Eli Manning? Trade Beckham. Just start tanking this year, honestly. Get a pick for next year. Start building your team for the future. I would rather have 3 to 4 years. I'd rather go to a Super Bowl in 3 years than go out and win 8 games this year. Because this team sucks as orchestrated right now. This defense is barren. It has nothing. It's a wasteland right now. We ain't beating the Dallas Cowboys with a couple of free agents. Do you want to be Jerry Reese and just spend up all our money just to get to 10 wins? No. You have an old quarterback who's not very good. You have no skill position players outside of Odell Beckham Jr. You need depth at the wide receiver position. You have no right tackle. You have no center. And your entire defense is terrible. And your quarterback's not good. So, Giants aren't winning anything this year. Why take a Dwayne Haskins, one of the biggest quarterbacks that really can't escape pressure at all? Why do you want to take Dwayne Haskins? Why? Don't just fill a need. It's a quarterback. It's a different position. Different position entirely. Trade back. Trade that 6th pick back unless Quinnen Williams or Josh Allen or Nick Bosa slips to you. Trade with the Dolphins or the Redskins for next year's first-round pick. So you get a first and you get a third out of the deal. Get a first and a third or a first and a second next year. Continue to stockpile assets and just tank. Tank for Tonga Vailoa. Tank for Herbert. And, by the way, there's going to be 2 other quarterbacks that are options next year that I think are going to be good quarterbacks. So, and the league has a lot of good quarterbacks in it. So your competition's not going to be that great. I mean, look at the worst teams this year. The Jets have a quarterback. The Buffalo Bills have a quarterback. The Detroit Lions paid for a quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo. Arizona is going to have a quarterback. The Jacksonville Jaguars are going to have a quarterback. Teams have quarterbacks. Marcus Mariota will be a free agent next year at quarterback. You could possibly sign him as a quarterback next year for 4 years. Better than Dwayne Haskins. More experience. I would take Mariota in a second over Dwayne Haskins. More experience, period. Good quarterback. Dwayne Haskins, risky, big, slow quarterback who's only played 1 year of college. Very, very young kid. Young kid. Bad year for quarterbacks. Don't take a quarterback. It's so stupid if you take a quarterback. Your ass is going to be gone. You're just going to bankrupt the New York Giants into taking a bad quarterback. No. Punt on this season. Trade back in the draft. And build. I don't mind getting rid of Vernon's contract. It's a great move. But this team is not good. Not good at all.